Hi everyone. I am writing this on my phone, so please have patience with any grammatical or formatting errors. This post got removed originally, and I messaged the mods, and they said that they have no idea how it happened. But I've been finding small silhouettes of Mickey Mouse outside of my house. To start things off, I now reside in a completely different state after leaving my job with the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando. I used to be what one Redditor described as a suit. I am one of the guys that walks around the park in plain sight yet hidden to the public. I am part of the elite group of black polo sporting undercover security officers that specialize in worse things than shoplifting and unruly park guests. If you are at Disney World and you have more than a few guys in one place wearing black polos, then you are most likely in danger and you should probably leave the area immediately. The sad part is that we are so good at blending in with the woodwork that you wouldn't even notice us. Anyway, let me cut to the chase here. I have seen some pretty weird things at Disney World during my time. These anomalies that everybody speaks of, well, they are true, but the least of our concerns. See, the thing is, when you take hundreds of thousands of people and cram them into a relatively small space, weird shit is going to happen. We have had kids, even adults, get lost in the park. Cryptozoological sightings, alien sightings, ghost sightings, and just generally unexplainable things happen all the time. I was a senior special security officer during the height of my time there, and I got called on for some pretty dark stuff. Many of you think we, as in the security detail I was in, were covering up for Disney. But in our true nature, we were damage control and we were kept out of the loop on things and were trained not to question but to diffuse. There was one thing though that, to this day, still bothers me. A cast member called us on the next day to report that a group of 4 children had gone missing on the land. Of course, I thought. Another one of those anomalies. For those of you who don't know the early calming nature ride called Living with the Land, it is located in the Land and the Sea Pavilion over by Soarin'. The odd thing about this report is that we have never received one of these complaints before. And of course, we are issued to cover up stories to tell cast members or guests to calm them down. My colleague calmly came up to me with a story and explained that the kids were part of an educational program, and they exited the boat with a guide and were escorted into a botany lab that exists on the ride. I told her not to ask any questions or talk about the incident, as to not spread false rumors, and I had my colleague escort her to a nearby security office to have her sign some forms. My human nature took over, and I got curious and I entered the ride on the next boat. Alone. Living with the Land is boring and not particularly popular, so I can understand how the kids would be on the boat alone and also how I could get on the boat by myself. I noticed absolutely nothing until I came to the part of the ride that had the prairie farmhouse. It looks just like a fox house, but something about it just never sat right with me. As I have done hundreds of times before on rides, I jumped off the boat and onto the scene where the house is. I noticed something funny though. There were no pressure mats and the boats went away, allotting about a good 30 seconds before the next boat got to the scene. I had never seen a ride with no pressure mats to detect if anybody had disembarked the ride. So, just a quick recap. The kids disappear on a ride. I show up and I feed the cast member who reported it some story about how they disembarked mid-ride, and that they're on a tour of a lab and for her not to question it. And the colleague of mine takes her away to debrief. I contact the new cast member operating the ride, and tell him to put some space between the next boat as I'm looking for the lost wedding ring. Bullshit I know, but so what? I slowly started to walk up towards the fox house. Climbing up the steps, I noticed a small emblem on the left window. It's a small square and a compass symbol. Interesting that the Masonic symbol is hidden here. I figured whoever had built the ride was a Freemason and they brushed it off. I looked in the windows of the house and it was nothing but curtains with black plywood behind them. I thought that there was nothing to see here, but still something inside of me decided that wasn't good enough, The front door glided open to a bright room with a black and white checkerboard floor. There was a marble ultralight table on the opposite end of the room, with some kind of weird throne-like chair built into the front of it, and a gold cup on the tabletop. The only other thing that was noticeable was a heavy wooden door on the other end of the room, and that happened to be locked. There were no windows or anything else. I thought I was weird because I was always under the impression that this house was fake. Human nature took me over again, and against my better judgment, I tried the door in the room, but I was relieved that it was locked. I tried my keys, but none of them worked. Here's the thing. At Disney, we use a lock system called BEST. This has interchangeable cores that have been assigned numbers and or letters. This is so we can issue keys only to certain areas. I have the General Master Key, which essentially is the real key to the kingdom. The interesting thing about this lock was that my Master Key didn't open it. I looked closer and it was a BEST lock, but the inscription said CC on it, which I had never seen before. Since the door wasn't open, I decided to just leave. On my way out, I noticed on the floor that there was a fast pass printed out for Soren. I picked it up and I pocketed it. It's amazing how trash works its way into odd places. I'm going to figure out where these kids went. I rode the boat back out of the platform and I went back to the Epoch security office to play back some footage from the DVR. It took me a while, but I zeroed in on a period of time where the kids entered the Land and Sea Pavilion, and I followed them. There were 4 kids in total, 3 girls and 1 boy. And the girls' actions were almost robotic, and it sent a chill up my spine. They walked in a straight line through the pavilion. But what scared me was, there was a man with them escorting them through the place. I paused and I looked closer when I realized that the man was wearing a black polo and khakis. The same thing that I was wearing. Holy shit, I even recognized him too. It was one of my colleagues. Alan is the guy that was at the scene before I got there. The same guy who had fed the cast member at the control podium the bullshit about the kids going on a tour. I thought that maybe he did actually send them on the tour of the botanic lab and lost track of them. Until I hit play on the film. The boy was not walking in line and I could tell that he was giving Alan problems. He kept venturing away and getting distracted by various things in the pavilion. The benefit of the doubt that I gave Alan subsided, until I saw the kid go press the button for the fast pass on Soren, and he took the paper fast pass almost like a prize. Alan then tugged him away and stood back and observed as the kids walked to living with the land. I saw them get on the boat. I saw them through the storm scene, through the rainforest scene, and then through the desert scene. After the desert, I lost the boat on camera, and the ride stopped momentarily. You could see it on the other scenes. It once resumes, I saw the boat again in the scene with the pictures of farmers. The boat was empty, and I also saw freaking Alan looking down at the observation deck, which explains how he responded so quickly. I switched the cameras back to the live view and I left that area. I haven't been exactly honest with you thus far. I know a lot of things of what Disney does and things that we respond to that a regular security officer wouldn't deal with. I have seen them experiment so many things such as eugenics, pharmaceutical engineering, even experimenting with gas. Have you ever noticed that on both Spaceship Earth and the monorail, that you get a strange calm feeling on those rides? Well, they are pumping low doses of laughing gas in those areas. Have you ever heard of Room Zero? They were wearing gas masks for a reason. Ever hear of the gas gods? Well, that's not important right now, but I would encourage you to research it. I never thought that what we did was okay by containing these dark secrets, but it paid well. I have seen them quickly inject some experimental drugs on guests and throw them back out there, and our job was to monitor and contain them if things went haywire. I know that I'm a bad guy, but this wasn't normal. This wasn't procedure. The first thing I did was go over to the room where we keep the keys. I looked through the logbooks for the core labeled CC. I found it, but it had no zone or specific location issued to the core, and the number of copies was marked as 1. This key was in our system, but my master key didn't open it. I grabbed the core key and a few Zone 1 cores. The core key is a specific key that, when inserted into a lock, it'll remove the core so it can be replaced with another. I put this in my pocket and I made a beeline for the Landed Sea Pavilion. I may be paranoid, but I swear that I saw Alan following me in the shadows. I got to the ride and I got to the house and back in the front door to the Masonic room, and I locked the front door as I entered. I inserted the core key into the lock on the wooden door. I removed the core and I inserted the Zone 1 core into the lock. Now my master key would be able to open the door. And boy, did it. The door glided open. It was heavy and steel on the other side of the wood face. There was a velvet red carpeted staircase leading down to some kind of utilidor. But we are in Epcot. What the hell? There is one small utilidor in Epcot, but it doesn't go this deep. I descended the door and I walked down the red carpeted hallway to these 2 double doors. Between these doors was my answer and the truth as to what had happened to these kids. Through these doors was the darkest side of Disney, a side of Disney that I couldn't believe. Would Walt be in favor of this? Or is this one of Eisner's little ideas of making more money off his guests? Behind the doors were an empty, dimly lit room with a small circular platform in the center. The carpet was the same lush red velvet carpet from the hallway. There were 6 leather armchairs around the circular platform, all with telephones and card readers on the table next to the chair. Inside I knew what was going on. I knew what was happening here. This is the one thing that I will not cover up for the Disney Corporation. I stood there in disbelief and horror and I noticed a small door towards the back of the room. I went over and I popped out the CC core. I put it in my pocket and I put in a Zone 1 core. I heard somebody clear their throat from the front of the room. It was Alan. He had an annoyed look on his face and he held a gun trained at me. I slowly propped the door open on the latch and I turned to face him. "You never should have come here," he said to me when he was stepping towards me. "So this was what you and your scumbag friends resorted to. We did some pretty messed up stuff, Alan, but this is a new low for you and your disgusting friends." I had my hand at my side, and I blocked the view of me slipping the Zone 1 core out of the handle and into my pocket. "It's not going to matter because no one is going to find out." He raised the gun and, like something out of an action movie, I ripped the door open as he pulled the trigger and the bullet hit the door. I jumped backwards through the doorway and I shut it behind me. The asshole was stuck behind because I had both cores in my pocket, so there was no way he could open the door. He started shooting the door and I moved forward. I walked down the hallway with these small cell-like rooms lining the hall, and inside there were play school chairs and a few toys. I checked every one of them and they were all empty. I got to the end of the hall and there was a huge metal vault-like door. I popped the last Zone 1 core into the door and I replaced the CC core. And I pulled the steel door open to be hit in the face with sunlight. I was outside on some side utility road off premises of Epcot. The road led away. I was too late. They were already gone for good. I called the police, but they never came. I called the FBI, but they never took me seriously. Hell, I even called the CIA, but they said they didn't deal with domestic issues like that and referred me back to the FBI. I showed up at the Orange County Police Department HQ, and they took a report, but I heard something fall in the trash when I was leaving. Disney is good at what they do, and they are good at keeping secrets. and they are good at controlling any outside force that attempts to bring their secrets to light. I am lucky that I saw sunlight again, and I am lucky to have had time to leave the state before they got to me. If you go there, please keep your kids close. Watch out for the guys in the black polos. They may be monitoring you, and they may be responding to something that will put you in danger. And as far as I know, they aren't the ones who pick out the merchandise. I don't even know who does that.